All right, just got the new DJI Ronin-S, and today in this video, we're gonna open it up, see what's inside, and we'll also set it up and see how intuitive that is. And I'll just give you my thoughts along the way. So let's check out the new DJI Ronin-S. Before we get to that, we kind of have to fix what's going on in this shot here, make it look a bit nicer, so let's do that. Okay. Bit better here. We have the lights. So before we get into this, just a note, why did I get this? I went back and forth a lot between getting this and then just continuing to use a glide cam for shoots. And here at Bitesight, we actually have the fly cam, which is kind of a cheaper version of the glide cam, but works quite well. And eventually I decided on this. The reason being is that I don't shoot with glide cam gimbals very much. Glide cam's great for getting smooth footage, especially when you combine it with like the warp stabilizer and post. You can just smooth out shots completely, and the glide cam works great. It just takes a lot more experience and a lot more skill developed over time, and even then you're doing multiple takes on a shot. Whereas I have a feeling with the Ronin-S, your first shot with this thing, you're gonna get great shots probably 90% of the time. You could also compare this to the DJI Ronin-M, which is the gimbal that has been out for several years now with a kind of a steering wheel style grip to it. I think this is just a bit smaller in scale. Without further ado, let's open this up and see what's inside.
In this video, we're going to show you how to assemble and balance the Ronin-S. First.
Okay, so it's set up out of the box. I have the Panasonic GH4 on the Ronin-S right now. A couple notes, things that I took note of while setting this up is, first of all, the battery comes uncharged, so you're gonna have to be prepared to spend a couple hours charging the battery. This thing does have really good battery life. It goes for like 12 hours, which is awesome. Another thing I took note of was that you actually need a cable for the GH4 to access the internals of the GH4 camera. So the Ronin-S, typically you'd be able to hit record on the actual handle and your camera would start recording, or adjust the focus with the focus wheel, but that does not work for this camera. So this did come with a bunch of cables that you would be able to connect it to newer cameras, but you do need to get an extra cable separately from the package if you're planning to use this with the GH4. And that cable is only like 10 bucks, so not a big deal. Okay, so this thing is balanced, so we can turn it on. Balancing it is required before using it and turning it on. And then there's also the app, which does some fine-tune adjustments that are required before actually using this thing. The very first time I turned this on, I had to turn on the handle, turn on the gimbals, and then again double tap the power button to turn on the motors, which is a bit strange. But once you've done that the very first time, you don't have to do it again. So kind of a weird thing there, but that's how it goes. So really cool. This thing's working. Right off the bat, there's some cool things. If you triple tap the thing, it'll turn and look at you. But all these features are for a separate video. I'm just trying to give my initial reactions to this thing. A couple final notes for this. I've stood up and kind of just swung it around a bit. It works very nicely as expected. This is an amazing tool and it feels fantastic. It's not too heavy. I could use this for a while. If you're using it all day, you'll probably get pretty tired, but it's not too bad. One thing I did notice about the motors is that when I was swinging around sometimes, judging by how fast I was going and stuff, I could feel the motors kind of glitching a bit. It wasn't like a shaky kind of a glitch. It was almost like it was catching up to itself, but it wasn't too bad. And there are a lot of adjustments you can do in the app to how the motors are working. Tons of adjustments. It's just watching the tutorials. It's pretty in-depth, but really nice that you can adjust all that. So I'm sure that can be solved. But this is very initial. I haven't really used it yet. So I'll save those judgments on the Ronin-S till later. I'm sure it's a fantastic gimbal. Very cool. That's about it. So thank you for watching and checking out the DJI Ronin-S.